Scott Ordway with the first question already.
Gotta
Just saying.
You can put this in the back.
Oh, rad. I'll hold these up.
If you want.
Cool. Are we giving stuff away today?
I don't know. Not today.
Oh, no, not today.
No, because you have that is not fleshed out, or how are you going to do it?
I know. That's how I work, though.
No, I don't, so no. You drive me mad.
What's up, everybody? Just having a little bit of a domestic conversation over here. I'm going to give just a second for people to jump in here. Sorry, I'm missing names already. What up, Chris? Stephanie Henry? Andrew, how are you? Marley, my daughter. What's up, Lopez? Laura Green. Laura Green is, gang, if you're not in the Facebook group, you need to be. And if the only reason you're a part of the Facebook group is to read Laura Green's posts, when she posted the other day about, what was it? Is a hot dog a sandwich? And then she had the dialogue of what her kids had. My wife was like, you have to stop whatever you're doing and read this. It was hilarious. What's up, Gardener for Hire? I see you. It's one of my students from last year. Bro, I don't even know if it was last year. It all melds together. But cool. Look, I'm gonna jump into this, gang, and then we'll get started. You have time. I'm gonna just do my little ramble in the beginning. You know why I do the ramble, wife? Because you never know who's new. I didn't even listen to your answer because I already knew what the answer was. I just really was like a rhetorical question. If you've not been here before, if you've been here before, just keep talking to one another. If you've not been here before, my name is CJ Reynolds, and I run this YouTube channel called Real Rap with Reynolds. And the idea behind real rap, what that really means is real talk. I don't rap. It's not a skill set that I possess. I created this YouTube channel as a hope to create a community of folks that are teachers like us, people like us do things like this, as Seth Godin says. But the real idea behind Real Rap with Reynolds is ways to create pathways and pipelines to help teachers be the teachers that they were called to be. Because we think that teaching is actually a calling, that it was something that you were meant to do, and not just something that, like, I don't know why else you would do this. It's just definitely not enough money or fame or, there's those chicken nuggets, I'm telling you. When you get the free hookup, like when the lunch lady's like, we have a few chicken nuggets left. And I'm like, all right, girl, I appreciate it. And I love those chicken nuggets. Something that the taste of free food is just so magical. So anyway, if you are interested in teaching, and enough that on a Sunday, the most terrifying day of the week for many teachers, to show up here and have this conversation, then all you have to do is put your comment or your question in the chat. I will talk about anything. Nothing is off the table. And largely, folks are anonymous. So that's good because then you don't have to worry about like people knowing who you are or something like that. So if you if this is not enough for you, if you need more Reynolds, there are over 400 videos on YouTube. There's a Facebook group called Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk where it's teachers like us. It is the island of misfit toys of teachers in all the best possible ways. So you can show up for that. There's also my book is available on Amazon and everywhere you can get books online called Teach Your Class Off, The Real Rap Guide to Teaching. And what else? And there's merch now too. We got merch.
Finally, there's some on the website.
Some on the website. I'm going to talk about more later.
But you can go check it out.
This is it. Wait a minute.
What did that come
I'm going to just jump because there's someone on here from Nigeria whose name is Real Talk with Charles. Bro.
Is that
That's my first name. We're
kindred spirits?
Kindred spirits, man. So let's see if we can get to that. So do you have questions for me or you want me to just...
Scott Orway is our first.
All right, let's go for it.
So
Scott
first question is asking, what are your favorite things to do after teaching to wind down and relax? And yes, I love being first to have my question answered.
You do. I really love that you're first all the time. It just cracks me up in the best possible way. I think when you're done teaching for the day, whether it went great or whether it didn't go so great, and probably didn't go so great is probably a better, because you can just live off that energy for the rest of your day if things went great. If they didn't go great, I find that like I need like a shift in my energy completely, right? Because if I just try and go into anything with my kids, hanging out with my wife. Like I need like a shock to the system almost. So what I will often do is I think when I was running every day, that was a really, really good way for me to kind of shift from that. Before COVID, when I was doing hot yoga fairly regularly, like that was a good shift because it's those are two activities that you can't stay in that mindset. Like you have to pay attention to what you're doing, especially if you're running in the winter and there's ice and snow and stuff like that. Or I find that music will change my mindset. So we literally just got a piano the other day, and so playing piano has been something that's been really interesting because you're doing something physical, you are getting to bang on something a little bit. But those are some of the things that I like that just completely take me out of my head because I have to focus on the thing that I'm doing, and that is what works for me and that I love doing. What you got there, dude?
Maisha is asking, as we are using this last week before winter break to complete missing assignments, what are some suggestions I can do for a constant submitter of blank assignments?
Maisha, I think when I think about that with kids, I don't do late work in my class. I don't do makeup work. But there have been times, right? Like I'm not just some Grinch. I do. There's a very specific reason that I do and don't do the things I do in my class. But there have been times when I'll have a kid with like a 0. Like my man did no work. Like even the time that I just asked, like, hey, like, what's your favorite cereal? They were like, nope, I will not answer this question. I think sometimes it's easier to have conversations that are real with those students because you can just break it down and say like, look, can we just take a moment and have like let's have a real moment together and look at your grades. And I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to be overly dramatic. I'm not going to tell you how your life's going to be ruined if you don't get your grades together. But I am going to draw a distinction between what you're doing and what needs to be done. Like why are we coming to school? Like if we're not going to do any level of work, like you could just, but you come and you sit in class, but then you don't do anything. You could just sit in the bathroom and just like, there's seats in there. So it's about getting kids to understand why it is that they would want to do something. And then is about, I think, showing grace for certain students to say, okay, if you're willing to put in the work to get this stuff done, I'm willing to put in the work to reteach it, to talk to you about it, to grade it all late, all that stuff. So it's sometimes then coming up with a plan for students and saying, like, let's come up with a plan together. Like, do you think you can do this out of all this? And what you're doing is, like I talk about a lot of times, you're rigging the game to win so that students can find success in moments that they didn't think they would. And I think that's the move. And then I think, one, documenting that, and then two, letting someone at home know that, it's not that your kid's in trouble. It's not that I'm dogging them for not doing the work all year. It's not that I'm questioning your parenting or something like that. It's really, look, I'm noticing that your child this is what we're going through. I want to give them an opportunity to really make the best out of this, and I'm willing to do anything that I can to help them find success. And so let's figure that out. So just so this is something that's happening, and then sometimes, I think that one lets parents see that you're willing to do what it takes. Two, it's letting them know so that their kid doesn't, get off the hook that easily. And three, it just shows that you are a unified group of individuals that are trying to help their student win.
Yeah, she said that our school is devoting an entire week to complete makeup work.
That's a lot of potential grades in there.
That's a lot of work, like extra work for teachers.
It's a ton of extra work, yeah.
Okay, DaVinci.
You struggle with this.
I know every week. You think my brain could get it, but anyway, sorry about that. Is asking any hope of your book on Audible? Not that we know of.
The book on Audible.
Audible's so expensive. I kind of almost refuse to use them.
Yeah, but it's about somehow creating an audio book for people that
need is different. It's access.
Not at the moment. I mean, I've explained this before, but for those of you that don't know, the way our publisher kind of decides whether or not you're going to get an Audible book is it has to make some astronomical amount of money, right? Which is not impossible for us. But it's also like, because what it's going to cost to produce that is so expensive that it has to be worth their investment. We definitely have people that like, not just folks that just prefer audiobooks. Like I really like listening to audiobooks, but folks that need it, right? Like people that like have
Access.
like vision impairments that like need, like that's what they need. And that's always my draw. And I know in the past we've talked about doing like a Kickstarter or something like that, see if we could raise money. But then I wouldn't want to do that until I knew like this is exactly what it's going to cost. This is the producer that I'm going to use. This is how it's going to take place. And to be honest, right now there's so many things on our plate, and we're such a small team of individuals here, like within the root of the company, that it's hard to get to. It is it's on one of my 97. You can't really see my lists over here, but I have about 97,000 lists and post-it notes over here. So yes,
One
it is
day.
one day. It is on there. Go ahead.
John Lopez is asking, CJ, do you have blue light protection on your glasses?
I do. I got these blue light protecting glasses because, and I'll tell you what, man, I don't know if they really work, but they really feel like they work because I feel less tired at the end of the day from looking at. Like I put these on like I'm putting goggles on to get in the pool. Like I just every time I sit down, slap these on. They do look a little yellow in the lenses sometimes, but they've been fun.
Does anybody have a brand that they love?
Oh yeah, if you have I got.
We've been looking for them, and they haven't been easy to find or bend.
No, they're not easy to find if they're not readers also. So like for people like I have perfect vision. And so for people with perfect vision, our struggle
What do
is...
you do?
What are we to do? I have perfect vision. No one thinks about us.
What about for the people that don't have... Well, yeah, I guess, never mind. They're not going to make them like that for me, for my vision level. Like, I can't wear blue blockers.
No, but you could probably get some kind of like blue blocker.
Oh, I have to go spend $300 to get that access?
Yeah,
okay,
I just want to play $9.99 at Target.
Yeah. Okay, we won't worry about my eyes.
Yeah.
They're already messed up. Is that what you're saying? Thanks.
You're too far gone, girl.
Okay, Sophie is asking, do you have any tips on formulating good report/grade comments? Thanks for everything you do. Love your energy.
I keep it real. I don't even do like the sandwich thing. I think that's a good move in a lot of ways. Like when you do good comment, something that needs to be worked on, then good comment. Because I feel like everybody does that. And I feel like as a parent, I would just be like, all right, yeah, come on, get to the point. It's about pointing out, sometimes I like to point out things that are not academic. Like your son, so I teach all boys, but like your son or your student are, like they're always willing to help other people. Right? So like, no matter, I don't care what your grade is. I'm just talking about you as a human being. Like, how are you in dealing with other human beings? How are you with being helpful in class, with being like trying to get better, like noting something about that, and then really saying, here's where your student is falling short, whether that is in the participation area, in like just straight academic area, like tests, quizzes, homework, classwork. Here's where they're falling short. And then I think the most important thing is here's how they can get better. So here's 4 things they can do next. We do trimesters. Next trimester that is going to bring their grade up. And that is really, really important because it's not just saying, here's the problem, mom. Your kid doesn't do homework. All right, so your son struggles with homework. Here's 4 things I think they should do next trimester to really make sure that they're doing well. Oh, they struggle with tests and quizzes. Well, here's 4 things you could know to help them to do better in tests and quizzes going forward. And what opportunities are all already available with regards to like making stuff up. They can get extra help during my office hours before and after school. Like it's making that list so that parents can then look at where their student is falling short and then help them make a plan of attack so that they can do better in the future. What you got?
Sorry.
Uh-oh, is it singing
No,
time?
I was asking a question. Somebody asked, where's your Secret Santa video?
Oh,
Next week.
should I answer?
I did in the comments. Claudia is asking, my school is switching to distance for the last week of the term. All assessments are done and grades are in. Any tips on what to do? Ooh.
That's a great question. Who's that? Claudia? Mm-hmm. So I think, one, I don't try to teach anything during those times. I think kids see through it and there's a real lack of like engagement in that. But I just think that spending time together, doing anything together is really worthwhile. So it's not you're just on your phone or your tablet or your Switch or whatever, and we're just watching a movie and whatever. But can you watch a movie and have it like home style? Are we eating popcorn or cereal together? And like, like we're pausing everyone. We really got to talk about that. Check it out. Did you even see what like, just happened there? And it's creating a community that worked hard all year, and now especially with in the midst of all the stuff that's going on in our country, like or virtual learning or hybrid learning or whatever. Let's just enjoy this moment together and be together. I used to work with someone that I always wanted to steal this idea. They used to make pancakes the day before winter break in their classroom, just like instant pancakes on a griddle for everyone, and then they just ate it. I had worked with someone else that made waffles for students, and I just thought that was such a fun idea because although it doesn't look like there's any room for there's no pedagogical reason necessarily to do that, right? Like kids' grades aren't going to get better necessarily. But I would argue against, because I think that in a classroom where the teacher sees you, where you see them as a real person, where you are engaging and just talking and you have a genuine interest in who your students are, that stuff, that cannot be understated. It's just so important. It looks like you're not doing work, but really you are getting kids ready to really do work. And I think that's why that's so important.
James Pete said he does pancakes.
James Pete would do pancakes. That's awesome, man. I've always wanted to do it, and the schedule never works out. There's always something that
Plus, let's be real. Do you know how to make pancakes?
Girl, have you ever had my pancakes?
No, because I always make them.
Well, listen. Back when I was a not-so-single dad, when you were working all the time, I made pancakes.
Oh, you did you?
I did.
Stephanie Shook said she did a cereal party this past week, and the kids loved it, even
yes.
virtual.
Where's my cereal box? It's not back here.
So they are back here.
One of the things I got is so dumb. I'm going to share it real quick.
But that's kind of the next question. If you want to read, it says.
Okay. What are your plans? Chris Chong is asking, what are your plans with your classes in the last week leading into break? Thank you so much, Reynolds. I'm going to tell you. So one, we're going to make Cereal Day. This is something I'm working on. I want to make Cereal Day a thing that happens every month, and I think that we should all do it together. I think that everybody should eat cereal with their students on whatever set day, whether it's first Friday or something like that of every week or every month. And then we post pictures, because it's just such a great idea. If you've not read my book, I talk about this thing called Cereal Day, which is better than pizza parties, because cereal are really cheap, and if you're too cheap to buy that, then you can even just get Top Ramen, because those things are 6 for $1. But I bought this thing. I was at BJ's the other day. They have this, and look, I realize I'm really healthy, and I realize that cereal has no nutritional value, so we try and find cereal with the least nutritional value, because if you're going to do it, bro, just go. So I bought these, and then what I've been doing in class this week is my co-teacher and I have been having conversations about who's doing a really good job, and then here's what I'm going to do this week. This is so dumb. I don't know why I'm really going to do it, but it's just because it amuses me.
It's fun.
If you're doing a great job, I will ask you in Zoom to just send me your mailing address. I will slap a label on this and slap a stamp on it, and I'm going to just mail this. I'm not wrapping it or anything. You're just going to get a box of cereal because how much could it possibly?
I think that is genius.
It's hilarious. But parent is going to think, they're going to think I'm a lunatic even more than they already do. But it's you only get to pick out of what I got here.
We'll post an update of how much they cost, a little box to send.
Yeah. So
I'll go tomorrow.
And then, but even otherwise, it's one of the things that we're kind of dreaming about doing is funding cereal parties for people. So people that don't have the money, it's if we could just fund a cereal day for them would be really fun too. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to do is Cereal Day. And then I'm actually given, first time ever, bro, because I only see my students twice a week, I'm doing a test the last day before break. And that is harsh and is not something I like doing, but it's the way this unit fell. If I don't finish what we're doing now and have some small assessment, it's not going to be something super hard, then we're going to be off for 2 weeks or whatever, and then they're just going to lose it. We're not going to have it.
So your answer to Chris Chong's question was boring.
I'm going to do a test.
It was half boring.
I'm going to do a test.
Okay, let's move on from that one.
What's up, child?
Nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Going
Summer
back.
Tate Summer Tate is asking, or is saying, I am frustrated with breakout rooms in Zoom. I surveyed the students, and the majority of my students hate them. I have tried icebreaker games, shared docs, assigned jobs, etc. What else can I try? The weird thing is that they collaborate well on a shared document when they are in the main room, and then they get all awkward with each other in the breakout rooms.
Yeah, because kids hate breakout rooms because they just says. I mean, look, the same thing like when you were in school and the teachers would put you in a group,
I hate it.
and you're like, bro, it's so weird and awkward. That's a good question. How to get kids over their awkwardness?
Can you do it all together in the main room since they? Oh,
yeah,
dog.
but that's dog. You keep doing this like every week. Just make my camera
I
tilted.
was gonna hit me in the head.
I don't have a fast answer to that one. Does anyone have an answer to that? I'm just wondering. Like,
Summer Tate, you stumped him.
Summer Tate has got me stumped for a minute here. Like, when kids are in breakout rooms on Zoom or Google or whatever, like, how are we helping them? This is so crooked now. My dog really did a number on it. How are we helping them to kind of get over their awkwardness and to have fun in what they're doing? Or just not even necessarily just have fun, but like to do something, like to not be so scared to talk to people. So I'm just wondering if folks have that. It could also be. I mean, I'm trying to think through. Sometimes it just takes me a second, and I don't want to stop talking because then it has these awkward silences, and I'm not Mr. Rogers. I think if kids like picked their own groups, but that comes with good and bad things. So some kids don't have groups to get into, and some kids are going to pick groups just because someone cute's in it, and then they're going to fail because all they did was flirt the whole time or try and show off. I think making things a competition, really, like first group that's done gets, freaking, you'll all get a box of Fruit Loops. You could do something like have kids go in the breakout rooms, but then they don't have to necessarily talk with one another for the first portion. So they're working on whatever their part is, and then they come back together.
Someone suggested, can you have them choose their groups? Maybe that would help.
Yeah, but I was saying like sometimes that works, but then if you just want to like hang out with,
I mean, that's what I would have
cute
done
people.
as a high school student, but
just hung out with cute people,
no.
you would have been
friends.
in my group. Would
I
you have been in my
a
group?
Yeah,
You'd have been like, hey,
for sure.
hey, handsome.
Okay, next.
All right.
The next question.
All right, sorry, Summer Tate.
Bombed on that one. Laura is asking, hey Reynolds, I hope you are well. I'm teaching in person this year, yet feeling so inadequate as a teacher and giving my class what they need to thrive. How do you keep your self-talk positive?
I force myself to do it, literally. The amount of let's just put this out there. The amount of negative stuff that goes through my brain on a daily basis is pretty high. Like the negative self-talk of like, I didn't start this yet, I committed to this and I didn't do it, I didn't call this person back, I forgot to email this person, I had this commitment and I forgot about like, and then it goes to stuff that's like ridiculous, like just dumb stuff that happened years ago, or that is how my life is right now, or like there's just like it's constant, man. And I think that, from what I read, like a lot of that comes out of like this sort of evolutionary background where you're constantly looking for the danger, for the negative, to make sure that doesn't happen. But then most of the stuff that you worry about, right? Studies say at least that like it doesn't really happen. And if I think back over my life, that's true. Like a lot of the things that I was really concerned about, really worried about, just never even materialized. So I have to literally do this thing every morning, and I've been doing it at night. Like once we go to bed, I just do it like while I'm laying there with my eyes closed before I fall asleep. Is forcing myself to say like what I'm grateful for, forcing myself to comment on like all the things in my life that are good. And so if I just even look in the room that I'm in, that I have curtains and there's plants and I have a place to put the kids' shoes, and that there's, even though my kitchen's a hot mess right now because it's being remodeled, like that's still happening. That, I have to be thankful and just take a breath for the moment. Like my kids are in the other room and they're good. I'm doing work with my wife. My dog is not eating himself to death like he's been doing lately, and he's just chilling at my feet here, knocking over my camera. Like these are all things to be really thankful of, and it's just forcing yourself to say them. And I think the best way to do it is out loud, even if it's barely audible to anyone, but just yourself. It's like saying out loud like how thankful I am and how much I love myself and stuff like that. It's just making yourself do it. What you got, buddy?
We're gonna try and redeem that question. There is Edie actually has.
Oh, all right.
Question.
Let's go. Edie has a summer tea answer.
What would? Well, it's not really an answer. It might help with the summer tea one. Anyway, let me ask it. What would you do for a kid, like in high school, who's too shy for class participation or groups or breakout rooms or anything? What do you got for that?
Kids that are too shy. I think that. All right. So maybe my answer for summer tea was a little bit. It was weak. I'm gonna be honest with you, but it's because sometimes answers are longer than people want them to be. And I know Summer Tate is an amazing teacher, so she could probably still get down with this. But to Edie's point, like, what do you do when someone is like really, really shy? You have to find ways to build their confidence. So in my book, I talk about this kid, Business Casual, who's a real student of mine, and Business Casual would like eat downstairs, like behind the wrestling mats, or he would just like sit in the bathroom during lunch because he didn't belong anywhere. And once I found out about this, because I have scouts that go around the school and look for lonely, ostracized children, and their job is to bring them back to our room, and then we help them to feel comfortable. And sometimes that's by talking to them. Sometimes it's by not talking to them and just giving them a space in the corner, and they can just plug in their headphones and be on their switch during lunch and not talk to anyone. But at least they're a safe space where they know nothing is being expected of them. And sometimes that is connecting them with students that are confident, that are going to just say what's up in the hallway. They're going to ask them something at lunch. That are going to ask them like what they like to do, and then find common interests. So I think for those really silent children, I don't, like maybe some kids just want to be introverted. Maybe they don't want to talk. Maybe it's not just a confidence thing. But when it is, it's about finding ways to build that student's confidence. And I think one of the number one ways to build confidence in a child is to let them know that they're okay for who they are right now. We do not expect you to be something else, to be something other than yourself. But it is, as Mr. Rogers says, it is you that I like. And not the stuff you have, not the things not the way you make the class laugh, none of that stuff. It's just like innately, you are the person that I care about. And when kids know that, and then they can try a little bit, and a little bit of that kind of weirdness comes out, or that awkwardness comes out, or that strangeness comes out, it builds this momentum where now you feel like you're part of a community that really cares, and students that are really going to listen, people that really want you to do a good job. And so it's not, education becomes a communal activity. And I think that's where I would start. But that takes a little bit longer, but it's still damn worth it, because you're setting them up for success going forward. And you realize that this job was never about this year, that it is forever. It is going along as long as that child is alive. We're doing long-term work here.
Better.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Edie.
Eric Royce, I think, how that's pronounced. Eric is asking, so you're obviously a caring person. Do kids try to take advantage of that? And if so, how do you spot that in the moment?
Yes, all the time. People think that your kindness is weakness, or they see your grace as being something that they think they can get over you on. One, I just don't care if someone does it. You're going to take the gift that I give you any number of ways. Some people are really going to appreciate it. Some people are going to be like, oh, all right, like, and not really care that much about it. Some people will be dismissive. Some people might try and return my gift. I don't really know. That's why I give kindness out with a gift receipt. So I think when that happens, though, teachers have a tendency, I know I did, especially when I was younger, that you get hurt. You get hurt when you try and do something nice for someone, and they don't care about it, right? So I'm talking about big stuff too, like buying kids Christmas presents that I've done, or paying for something for someone, really putting my neck on the line because I know that this kid's going to get in trouble, but I'm going to go to this meeting or stick out for him or something like that. And then kids are just kind of like nonchalant, like don't really care. That's not what I'm doing it for. My job is to give the gift. What you do with the gift is completely up to you. I don't. If I give a gift to my aunt for Christmas, I don't care if she returns it. I don't care if she puts it in a closet. Like I don't even know what she does. I don't follow up with her and be like, "Did you use that? How many times have you used it yet? Did you like it? What'd you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Is it even in the box still? You don't even open it up yet, did you?" Like I'm not gonna interrogate you. I think the other side is knowing that kids are always like that. This is what we do. We try things as human beings. We try and see what we can get away with. I try and see how many, my children right now are real into like seeing like how, but like my son wants to know how much he can curse. He's trying to figure out cursing all the time. So can I curse? What curses can I say? Hell. This is some hell good dinner. So that doesn't even make sense. We're going to talk about that right now. But then I'll hear him in the other room and he says like shit or something. I'm like, yo, we got to chill. Like we got people over the house, or like you just can't say things like out of pocket whenever you want. Like it becomes more of a conversation. And so I think it's about what you're doing is helping kids navigate themselves to figure out what they can get away with, what they can't get away with, and then showing them what real care looks like. Real care looks like you did something wrong. I didn't like your behavior. I still like you. And then how are we going to grow from this? And then tomorrow I put it behind us and I keep moving on. And sometimes that is an act on the teacher's part. It is not real because you really are hurt. But I think it's showing kids that that at least in my mind, I'm willing to act like I've gotten past it because I need to be there with you and I need to show you what grace really looks like.
Jennifer Sweeney, thank you for that. And she's also saying, hey, introverts are not shy. Shy has anxiety, but I am just quiet. Introverts are okay.
Yeah.
As is.
Absolutely. So first of all, thanks for giving us money. That was awesome. I appreciate it.
I don't even know what that thingy is called when that does that.
It's oh snap!
I know. I forget what it's called.
Now you're making me forget. But also, yeah, I think that sometimes, like, look, I think we often look at teachers, look at students, look at people that are introverted as if they're broken, right? Like, oh, you just must lack confidence. It's like, no, some people just are quieter. They just don't need to do all of this stuff all the time, and that's, which is, I think one of the important things about a community like this is to not look at anyone that's a part of this community and think that that's the way you should be. It's about helping you to figure out how is your ordinary somebody else's extraordinary? How is what you're doing special? And I think, kids see all that stuff. I thought that was Indie Kitty because that's her picture.
Yeah, I thought they just happened to have the same cool picture.
I know, I was like, did somebody take Indie Kitty's picture and then
Super Chat, that's what it's
Your
called.
real name's not Indie Kitty? This is preposterous. That's like when I talked to Unicorns Rock one time and she told me her real name and I was like, what? Like,
it's really so hard to go off of people's like screen
unicorns?
names. Oh gosh.
Okay,
Mickey is asking, how do you hold students accountable for getting their assignments in on time when you have a 40% fail rate if you don't take in late work? I feel like the failures look bad on me.
All right, so that's a good question. I think where we start from is what's the most important thing here? Is it students learning the right thing to do, the right way to do things, or is it about us looking like we're doing the right thing? That is a real question, right? Like, so this is something I wrestle with constantly because, kids love my class. Like even the kids that are failing it, I think probably really like my class in a lot of ways. They think that I'm funny. They like being in my room. They like the stuff that we do that's wacky. They just don't want to do schoolwork. And so that's tough sometimes. It's like when you have someone that is crushing it, and or they're a really great kid, or you really get along, and then they're not doing what they need to do. So I'm going to put my man out there right now. And this guy right here, DJ Dirty Kev, we call him, with the black hoodie on the cover of my book. One of the reasons he's on the cover of my book is because he is someone that, Kev and I have been all over the world. We have done amazing things together. We have an amazing relationship. I talk to him bi-weekly to just talk about movies and stuff like that. We just do phone calls. His mom will just call me for stuff. What's that?
I said his check-ins. He calls them.
Yeah. Yo, Ren, just checking in. But he was not a very good student. He had a really hard time with school. He had a really hard time doing well. And so to me, it was about breaking it down for him as to bro, this is a game. What's your why? What do you want to do here? Why do you want to do well? What what's your motivation here? And when we can do that with students and help them figure out what their why is, then that helps. One. Two, it's about, I think, sometimes reverse engineering for students. So our school just moved from percentage, like category weights. So like classwork's worth this, and it was something the school came up with. We didn't have any say. Classwork is worth this, homework's worth this, tests are worth this, quiz are worth this, that kind of thing, to total points. And I like total points so much more because it's more like a basketball game. It's like, look, this is like, I can even tell you these are the points available for the trimester. And then at any given time, you can figure out like where you're falling on that spectrum. And that really helps kids to wrap their head around the reality that like, oh, I don't have just a ton more opportunities. Oh, I can't just chalk this and then do well later. And then I think it's about what I'm learning this year, especially within the midst of virtual learning, it is keeping parents involved more than ever. I am not a person that calls parents easily. I'm not a person that sends emails to parents easily. But when mom and dad both have to go to work and their son is at home all day by themselves and they're just chilling in their room playing Fortnite instead of doing schoolwork, like parents don't always know that. So it's about keeping those lines of communication clear. And then creating opportunities for students to, whether it's make up work, whether it's retake assessments, whether it's get extra help, making those available and then documenting whether students are or are not coming to them. Because you always get into that situation where like a kid tells their mom like, I am doing everything. I have gone to office hours. And it's like, nope, I actually have never had you in attendance for office hours ever. Or, your child is allowed to retake tests and quizzes every Wednesday, but they've never showed up for any of them. And for some of them, when they got a 30, like getting a 50 on that, which is still not passing, would have brought up their grade this much. It's like, it's figuring out those ways to sort of document that so that it is very clear to parents also what you've been doing. Because then parents, I think, want to work with you and not just point the finger and blame for what you're doing also. What you got?
Mr. James Pete has a question. He's asking, in the past several weeks, we've bounced between 12 different styles of teaching. In January, I have a student teacher. 1, pray for me. 2, how do I game plan this?
Oh man, student teaching. Just think about how much it would suck to be a student teacher right now anyway. Like, you worked for years to get to this point, to be in front of students or to be with students, and now all of a sudden you're just sitting on the computer in your laundry room. I think... How do you game plan? So look, Jim, are we talking about game planning for how to bring a student teacher into this? Or are we talking about game planning?
I think how do you game plan with like this crazy teaching world that we're in right now?
All right.
With like...
So I would go full, like we're not having a regular student teaching situation. That's what I would just tell people. Like, if you're going to be with me, this is not going to be your average student teaching experience. Because what we're going to have to do is we have all these different types of kids, all these different types of learners, and we're going to really like focus in on what exactly like kids need. And then we're going to make class for them. And I think that's what I would do. And then it's like, let's dream up ways. Let's just like, so one of my favorite things I've been doing lately is I used to just, I like dreaming, right? I like just dreaming and just thinking about stuff and letting my mind go and thinking about like, how could this be amazing? What if we did this next week? What if we did this? What if we stopped doing this? What if I did, and that's for big things. Like, what if I didn't have grades anymore, right? Like, I'm not going to get rid of grades, and nor am I allowed to, but like, just letting my head go there. Letting my head go to like, what would class look like if we taught from anywhere in the school? What would distance learning look like if I didn't teach from just this computer, but moved outside or across the street or down the block? What would it look like if I introduced music every single day? What if it, like, so you just like let yourself go down that rabbit trail. And in doing that, I just find out that I come up with a lot of really great ideas. Come up with a lot of ridiculous ideas and terrible ideas also, but so the way that I've been doing that lately is I buy foam core board, or I find old foam core board that my kids used for signs at some point, and on the back, I just like dream it out, just write it all out. And that's been really fun and liberating. and sort of cathartic, because it stops me from just looking at the limits that I have in front of me, and instead allows me to just kind of dream bigger and think about stuff, and then figure out like, okay, how can we work this into what we're into class. And I think that idea is fun.
Okay,
I could go more about that, but I think I'll stop.
Marie is asking, my students are often apathetic. I've tried creating projects and building relationships with them, but some of the students won't even respond to questions. What can I do to reach them?
So I have two options here. One is something, so three options. One, what if you got together with other teachers and that student to try to kind of, circle around them to really have this conversation, to really talk to them about what's going on, and let them know what that's doing is letting them know that you are a community of individuals that are trying to help out a student to be what they can really be. And that I've found incredible success around, especially when it's like people that really care. So it's not just like teachery talk. It's like, nope, we're gonna like really sit here and like care about you in your face. I talk about punching kids in the face with love. So which sounds aggressive, but it's just like bam, right at you like a water balloon. And so the other thing is, I think, what if you put kids in charge? What if you put those students in charge of actually doing something? Like they had a role to play in class, whether that was reading the do now, reading everyone's answers for the do now, giving them a job where they have to grade something. Like they have a role outside of that of just the student. Maybe they're teaching something. Maybe they are in charge of sound effects or music for the day or whatever it is. But you're providing them some other, reason to show up to class, some other reason to stop what they're doing and focus in on what's happening because they have a role. I think the third thing is sometimes, Maria, I just wonder, like, what if we just stop focusing on that student, right? Like you can't make kids do work. So I think what we can do is I don't know if I said this already today, but I had an interview right before this and I definitely said it there, but you can lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink, but you can make it really thirsty. And so when we can do that, when we make lessons that are so engaging, it's hard for someone to not want to engage on some level. When we are really, really getting along with other students in the class and we're laughing and we're carrying on and we're having like great like conversations and doing work together, it's hard for kids to not see us as something more than what they would have seen us for like in the beginning of the year. So what you're doing is just creating this space and this place that is really enticing and engaging, but not forcing someone, right? It's like if you're a great DJ, you just find great jams that get everyone on the floor and everyone's dancing and having a great time. But you can't make someone get up and dance. You can't make someone get down. And if they dance, you can't make them have fun. So it's like trying to sometimes just like say, all right, like I'm not done with you. I'm not cutting you off. I'm not throwing you out with the bathwater, which is a weird saying, but like I'm here for you. Whenever you want to start, I'm here for you. But I can't force you to read. I can't make you do the work. I'm not gonna hold like if someone holds your back and pushes you and makes you do sit-ups, you are not getting any muscles from doing this, right? You have to do the sit-ups yourself. And so we can make sit-ups fun. We can put on right music. We can have super cool people in the room. We can go to a really great gym. We can have all the stuff, but like unless you want to do it, that's it. The end. Like you have to want to do it. And so I think that's what it is. It's not being done with students. It's letting them know that under no circumstances have I ever given up on you or will I give up on you, but I'm here for you when you're ready. What you got? That was a long answer.
Natasha's asking, I am an elementary gifted teacher. I need my fifth graders to peer edit each other's pages. How?
Oh, great question. I think one is having a very simple list of what those things look like. Don't give them 97 different things to look at, but just simple things. I think it is like having a conversation. So if I was in, so you could use Google Docs to do that. You could use like Zoom discussion boards to do that. But I would start with something simple, right? So it's not just like, here's the work, here's someone's essay, and I want you to revise it. It could be like a really simple question. It could be like, so on Google, one of the things we'll do in class sometimes is like on Schoology, they have like these discussion boards, and it's your job is to not only post, but you have to say something to someone else's. So we're starting to use that muscle of speaking back to someone's stuff, of saying something to someone's stuff, of having a thoughtful insight, a connection piece, like, oh, I've done that too, or have you ever tried this, or what'd you mean when you said this, or like, was anyone there with you? Like, you're asking follow-up questions. So what you're doing is actually teaching students to engage with one another on a level that seems harmless, that there's no, you have very little skin in the game, which is another weird saying, and then but then you're building it up to doing something like looking at their papers. And then I think in doing that, what you're doing is allowing students to see one another as human beings. And so when they're reading a paper, it's not just some like, some kid in the classroom. It's like, oh no, oh, that's Pete, like that's my guy, or like that's my friend, or like I remember him talking about this. And then I think it gives you a little bit more of an in-depth way of answering that. What you eating over here?
Are you ready? Should I just tell everybody what I have?
Are you eating toast?
A piece of a biscuit.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Daily Classroom
starving.
is asking, how do you balance time and significant others / family when it just feels like work life takes so much time, working 6 to 7 days a week, basically?
So I think, one, daily classroom, I'm going to say this. Teachers love that. There is a part of teaching that we love, like how long we work, how hard we work, how much we put into our classrooms, how much we put into our kids. Like, there's a part of that is like, man, that's what we got into this for, right? Like, we love doing that. We love working 15-hour days, 18-hour days, right? You, on side of your head, you think that you don't, but if you cut that out, if you stop doing that, you would feel like you weren't putting all into this that you should be. I would like to offer this. What if you only worked your contracted hours for school? So whatever that is, from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and that's it. What then would your life
You're
look
making
like?
everybody like their anxiety shoot through
Maybe,
the roof.
but maybe that's what should
would
happen.
you get done if you
So several weeks ago, months ago, I started doing this. So in the beginning of the year, I did the same thing as everyone else. 12, 15, 18-hour days. Like pulling my hair out, couldn't figure out one damn thing to do on Schoology, because for whatever reason, that platform decided that there should be 5 ways to do any one thing. And so I just got to the point where so school happens here. Real Rap with Reynolds happens here. Like, engagement with a lot of my friends and coworkers happens here. It's like, I just literally sit in this chair all day in the side of my laundry room, and it's like, bro, like, come on. So I just decided not to do it anymore, because my school just kept piling things on. Every week, they were like, all right, our job is going to be, we're going to take stuff away from you. And instead, it was like, we're going to take stuff away, but first we just need, if you could just do like these last 3 things. And then we're going to clear it up. You're going to have that. All we want you to do is teach. Except for, actually, guys, you know what? We forgot. These things came up. We're being audited for special education. There is this after-school program thing we need you to be a part of. Oh, yeah, forgot. There's a meeting today after school. I stopped doing all that stuff. I work from 8 to 4 every day, unless there's something that, like, sometimes an extra 45 minutes, an hour on the end of the day, 2 hours tops, like that I will put in, but that's occasionally when it's like, I want to make sure all these grades are in. I want to make sure all these comments are done. I want to make sure that these students really, like, that tomorrow's set up okay. But largely 8 to 4 every single day. I wake up later every day. So I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I usually get up around 7, pray, read, coffee with my wife, go to work at 8. I have until 8:45 till I have to start teaching. So it's office hours and planning. I get off for an hour or 40 minutes or whatever it is for lunch, 50 minutes. I don't do work most of the time during that time, unless I'm helping. Like, there are some times when, like, I have some students that are like really struggle, that have like severe learning differences, that like really need help. So sometimes I'll work through lunch with them, but most of the time it's just hanging with my kids. I go for a walk, I take my dog to the park, whatever I do. Then I come home, then I teach till 4 or work till 4. My last class is done at 2, so I work from 2 to 4 because those are my contracted hours. The end. I don't do anything. I turn my computer off. I hide the notifications for the group text that I'm in. so that all the people that talk all night long, I just don't even get any of their text messages until the next day. And I told the school that if there are meetings, unless it's an absolute emergency, I emailed someone last week about this. Unless it's an absolute emergency, if you put a meeting on my schedule less than 72 hours in advance, I will not be at that meeting because it was not given to me in a proper amount of time, and I need to be able to get my head right, get my family right, get my dog right. Like those are things that actually make me a better teacher. And then on Saturdays, I don't do anything. I do a Sabbath now, where I don't do any work for Real Rap with Reynolds or otherwise. The one exception right now is we launched a bunch of products yesterday, and so that we worked on that for a bit yesterday. But that just kind of felt like fun. Like it was like writing product descriptions that were silly. So yeah, to that end, if you do go to realrapwithreynolds.com and go to our store, we finally have stuff in there. So we got all these new stickers and stuff.
Which these aren't in there yet, but they're
These
coming.
aren't in there. Be the teacher you always dreamed of being. Look at that cloud. It has like purple accents in it. It's fire. We got the book cover sticker. We got
Those are still all there.
Sprinkle Magic. Those were the ones that we had those in the Facebook group also already. Relationships with our king with that background artwork, same as from the book from my guy Alois McElwain, favorite graffiti artist in the city. Teacher class off. This is actually transparent, so when you peel it off, it's clear.
Well, the text is white.
Oh,
the background is
all
clear.
the white becomes clear though, right? Or no?
Well, no.
Oh,
the
the
white
text is white.
The text white.
Yeah, you're better. You explain things so I can understand. And then the other teacher class off thing. You can also go on there and you can get. Let's do the whole spread real quick, wife. I need for everything that's around here anyway. Teacher class off travel mug. Bam! Take your
There it
life
is.
juice with you. Oh, there's that sticker. There's also journals on there, and then they're available soon. Oh, it's not even in here because it's in the other room because we're taking pictures of it.
Oh no, Mr. James Beatty said, "Wait till you see me in a crop top hoodie."
Yeah. So crop top hoodies are a great idea, James P, because sometimes your belly button just gets overheated doing virtual teaching. You need to give it a breather. Crop top time. Yeah. There's t-shirts in there. There's a hoodie. There's only one hoodie right now, but that's because supplies are very, very difficult to get right now.
Well, because I don't want crappy sweatshirts.
We don't want crappy stuff. All of our stuff is really good stuff, and we're trying to get it sourced from like responsible places and all that stuff. And then the bubble microphones, these suckers are going to be available in there hopefully by the end of today, and hands on a stick will also be available in there. But microphones and hands on a stick are right now only available in the US because it would cost a fortune for me to send somewhere else.
But keep checking there. So stuff will pop. All those stickers, the microphones, the hands on the sticks will pop up hopefully today on there. If not by tomorrow. Yeah.
And look, I mean, this is to make money, but to just be clear, one of the things that we're doing here at Real Rap with Reynolds is like, it's not just making money for us and for our family, although it is. I mean, look, because I basically make YouTube videos for free for the last 5 years, and so to be able to make money on that is great. But it's also helping students. It's also helping like fund ideas in class. It's also helping fund students and their lives and their colleges. And like, that's one of the things that we really want to build an income around, is to be able to just be a blessing, be an answer to other people's prayers. And that's what we're kind of looking at. So, right at realrapwithreynolds.com, you can go to our store and you can get all that stuff available. And even if it's not for you, these are like good things, like buy other people that you work with. Like, who wouldn't love a bubble microphone?
Yeah. Mr. James Pete, I want to say that you are not the only one that had that issue. Few people, their bubble microphones have broken in shipping. So if that ever happened to anybody, please let us know so we can send you a new one, because we're going to ship them out in a new way so that they don't get squished.
Well, we didn't think either, not to go on too long about this, but we had them in bubble wrap. And what we didn't consider was that
they're gonna put a heavy
post
package
office
on it.
Puts things on top of other things and then they're breaking. So we were just trying to find ways to cut costs for shipping so that we didn't have to charge more, right? So some of the products are expensive in the store, but it's just because they're already expensive. So then like we only are trying to do like a minimum markup on them. But anyway,
and if anybody has things that they want made or ideas and things like that, just let me know. Shoot an email.
Let us know. Me. But if you get a broken bubble microphone, James Pete has one coming to him. It's sitting literally on my dining room table. But if you get one that's broken, just let us know and we'll hook it up. What you got?
Oh, I'm sorry. I love reading.
You don't have any questions?
Comments. No, I do. We have a bunch. Stephanie Shook is asking, do you have any suggestions for short stories for 6th grade ELA? The ones my PLC chose are old and boring.
Yeah, so a lot of stories are old and boring. And those are all the ones we pick from all the time. So I like some of the old ones. Some of the ones I like are old, but I'm blanking on names right now. Like, Most Dangerous Game is always a hit for some reason with boys. It's like battling and fighting and killing each other and hunting one another is good. After 20 Years is another one too by O. Henry that like my students just like for some reason. I think they can see themselves in that story sometimes. So I'm wondering, Lopez, I see, said the birthday party, but does anyone else have, so if you're not paying attention, if I could have your attention for a moment, 6th grade ELA short stories. What you got? Put it in the comment section. Let's see if we can get a flood of those in there. And if you don't teach 6th grade ELA, like what's a story that you really loved when you were a kid? I also think that using New York Times articles is a really great idea. So you can go to New York, if you Google New York Times lesson plans, a lot of really good stuff comes up too. So that's fun as well. And then it's really relevant as well.
Jub is asking, how do I choose between teaching in high school and elementary school?
That's such a good question. It's so different. It's like I don't know, I could be an elementary school teacher. I've thought about it before, like to just go way back and like that old, like, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So like, instead of like dealing with students now that that are on 2nd grade reading levels, like maybe going back to 2nd grade and teaching so I could just help those students. But I also think that it really comes down to, for me, it was, what age did I need the teacher that I am, right? So thinking about who I am, what I provide, the level of care, the level of interest, like the things I do, what age did I really need that the most? And for me, it was 9th grade, which is why I teach 9th grade. I've taught other grades, but they were all in conjunction with 9th grade. Because 9th grade to me was a huge pivot point in my life. It was like, who am I really? What do I like? What do I not like? What do I stand for? What do I not stand for? What do I put up with? Like, me coming into my own. And this is that I get to teach that age in which I was going through a lot of those changes myself. So I feel like I'm on mission in that grade level. But I think it's like that's how I answered that question. I'm not sure how everyone else would answer that, but that was my takeaway from that. Good.
Oh, I know. I'm just multitasking.
Oh, you just...
Yes.
Oh, you look
Geography Everywhere is asking, I love preparing lessons, thinking of ideas to do in class, being in class with the students. I love teaching worksheets. I have so much motivation to do all the stuff. I always found correcting homework is the hardest, most boring, and tedious part of teaching. This year, it's so much worse. We're hybrid and all classwork and homework needs to be handed in online. Any tips?
So I make an event out of anything that I don't like doing. And it makes it more fun. So when I was in school, I would put on, like, it'd be end of the day, clean up my room, make everything look like neat and organized, put on some jams. Friends would come in and we'd grade together. I've had friends come over and grade, and we've had like wine and pizza and just graded at my dining room table, and like everyone's grading and talking and laughing. And I'll tell you what, I'm not trying to promote like alcohol consumption here for, because it's not everyone's jam. But having a glass of wine and grading papers, man, they're so much better. Those papers are just like, just don't hurt your heart as much when they don't do well. I will often sit back here, and it's the end of the night, and like, again, grab like a beer or grab like a cup of coffee or something, and I get these lights all changed, so I like set the vibe in the room, I put the right jams on, and I just make a moment out of it. And I think, that's something that I've done my whole life, is like make moments out of things that are just not really moments. But whenever I've done that, I've just found a lot of fun in it. And so I will say this little extra piece to that. I've had a lot of really lame jobs in my life. I used to work as the front door greeter at Home Depot. And it was because I got in trouble at Home Depot when I was working there, so they thought to keep an eye, and I'm not even going to go into that, keep an eye on me, they were going to make me stand at the front door. And then I would just make fun with it. Like I'd have fun with it, like how I was going to greet people and what language was I going to greet people, what accent was I going to use to greet people, because they didn't know who the hell I was, or if I was Australian or New Zealand or from like Texas. So how y'all doing today? If you need anything, just let me know where it is. And then try and be the greatest front door greeter ever. So if someone needed something, if someone didn't know where something was, it was like, no, my whole job, my whole focus right now is to help you find a coupling for that piece of pipe. And we're going to go do it right now because I know there's no one in plumbing ever. So I'm going to walk you down there. I'm going to give you the greatest customer care that you ever had. When I worked in Home Depot and had to like, I worked in a warehouse and I had to just like drop pallets of product and stock shelves all the time. It was like, I just did it. And I made it the most, I'm like, no, this is going to be awesome. We're going to drop more pallets than everybody else. We're going to put in more work than everybody else. And in 2 hours, we're going to be done more than everybody does all day. And that's how we're going to do it. But it's just making moments out of every regular thing. And that to me, it makes it more palatable when I do that. What you got, buddy?
John Lopez just gave us all a recipe for teacher's aid. It's a shot of vodka, 6 ounces of Simply lemonade, raspberry lemonade, and 1 ounce of pineapple juice, a splash of Malibu Bay rum. That sounds like I would love it.
John Lopez drinks that drink
With
his robe on, an ascot, sitting in front of a fireplace. Because he's the most interesting.
Can you make that up since you have an image of him
I do
now
have
with
a
his
picture of
beard, and
John.
you can totally
I should.
make that happen.
I think this is a good idea.
Oh.
I like what you're on to.
Okay, I think we have one more question.
One more question. Let's go.
Okay, Andrew Thompson. Hey Reynolds, do you have any more tips for connecting / building relationships with students as a substitute teacher?
So, Andrew, I think the interesting thing about being a substitute teacher is you get to try a bunch of stuff. And you got to make like relationships in a hurry because you only have that certain amount of time with that student, a day, a week, a month, whatever it is. Someone's, while they're out on maternity leave. I think it really comes down to practicing listening. It's not so much what we say, it's what we are doing. It's what we are giving space to have happen. So I know it's very awkward when you ask students a question and then it takes them a minute to say something, or they start going off on some tangent on some anime show that you don't even care about. But it's really, I think, young people, and my favorite poet, Anis Mojgani, has this line that says, "Speak when." This poem is for the people that were told speak when spoken to and then are never spoken to, and I think that's young people. They're told sit down and shut up, and speak when spoken to, and instead creating spaces and places where students can be themselves, where they can share who they are and what they're interested in. And I think that we forget that it is, like I say all the time, it is our attention, not our advice, which is a shirt for that on the website. Or it's our attention over our advice that really wins students over. So it's like, what adults are not going to tell them what's wrong, what's weird, what's goofy, what they shouldn't be doing, how they should really communicate with people. It's like, nope, just accepting you for who you are right now in this moment, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think as a substitute, if you become a sub in the same school over and over and over again, which most schools, if they like, I know our school does this, if we like someone that's a substitute, we will call them back a lot. If someone's terrible as a substitute, we make sure that they never come back again. But the students at our school get stoked when they're like, oh, yo, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so was like covering algebra today. That's exciting because they've met you in other classes, they've talked to you in other classes. And then, so I think that's how I would build relationships with students, like even though there's short interim times. So that's it, gang, for this week. We're at an hour, a little bit over, and we have some Christmas stuff to take care of. Look, the Eagles have a new quarterback playing today.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to go figure that out.
No, I don't want to watch them. They depress me.
They do depress me, but this could be exciting. Are you putting stick bots
I mean,
up in there?
yeah, it's just there. And
Stick bots are great.
Happens.
So look, gang, as we're getting closer and closer to winter break, be mindful also to just wouldn't it be interesting if you didn't kill yourself before winter break? And what I mean by that is like if you didn't completely and utterly wear yourself out so that you just kind of like slid into winter break like you were weekend at Bernie's or something like that. Take your time. Like it will all work out, and I think it's so important to get to winter break and want it, but not need it as much. Because when you need it, that's when all those days just blur past, and then the next thing you know, it's freaking end of winter break, and you're just like, oh no, this is terrible. So take your time. find things that you delight in to take up some of your time, whether that's what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're reading, what you're watching, who you're with, to the best that you can in these crazy COVID times. And that's it, everyone. That's it. We'll see you next week.
What's next week? Hold on.
Peace.
Next Sunday is the 20th. Yeah, we can still meet.
Yeah, we're still doing it the 20th. We probably won't do it the week after that because it's like right after Christmas. I was thinking we'll take a little break, but then when we come back in the new year, I think we're gonna use Zoom so that we can have people guest in on this also. So like
maybe, if there's CJ and all of his ideas.
No, that's why I put it off till after the new year. I wanted to do it this week, but then like if John Lopez and his smoking jacket want to come on here, they can ask a question. They can just do it live, and that would be really fun too.
That would be fun.
Cool. Are we good?
Yep.
Can hit the end thing. All right, gang. Have a great week. Peace.
Bye, everyone.